Captain Veltar pressed his 4 thin fingers against the cool metal of his ship's wall. The peaceful inquiry shook again as another blast hit the shields. Red warning lights flashed all around the bridge. His crew of 12 moved quickly between their stations. But Veltar could smell their fear in the air. "Shield power at 30%, called out Engineer Kessita from her station. Her voice stayed calm, but her hands shook as she worked. "We cannot take many more hits like that." Veltar looked at the main screen. 3 large ships floated in space around them. The ships looked wrong. They were not built by any normal species. Dark metal mixed with what looked like living tissue. Tubes and veins ran along their hulls. Red lights pulsed like heartbeats. These were harvester ships. "Sir, they are sending another message," said Communications Officer Rel-2. "They want us to surrender. They promise a quick death if we give up now." Veltar made a clicking sound with his throat. His people had studied old records about the harvesters for many years. They knew what happened to species that surrendered. The harvesters would take them apart piece by piece. They would study how Zelanti bodies worked. Then they would use that knowledge to build better weapons and ships. The captain had read reports from dead worlds, planets where millions had lived in peace. Now those worlds were empty rocks. The harvesters had taken everything: people, animals, plants, even the bacteria in the soil. They left nothing behind except bare stone and metal. "How long until our engines work again?" Veltar asked. Kessita checked her screens. "At least 4 hours, maybe 6. The damage is very bad. We need time to fix the jump drive." 4 hours. Veltar knew they did not have 4 hours. Maybe they had 4 minutes. Another blast hit the ship. This time, the lights went out for a few seconds. When they came back on, sparks flew from one of the control panels. The air smelled like burning metal. "Shields at 15%, Kessita reported. Veltar thought about his choices. He could try to talk to the harvesters, but they never listened. He could order his crew to fight, but their science ship had no real weapons. He could try to run, but their engines were broken. Then he remembered something. An old emergency protocol from the ancient days, before the Galactic Council existed, before most species had learned to live in peace. Back when the galaxy was a dangerous place full of warriors and predators. "Rel-2, open the old emergency channels," Veltar ordered. "Sir, which channels?" "The warrior protocols, the ones from the old galactic codes." Rel-2 looked confused. "But, sir, no one uses those anymore. Most species do not even remember that language. It has been thousands of years since anyone sent a warrior's call for help." "Do it anyway," Veltar said. "Send our location and a request for military aid. Use the old words. Ask for any warrior species within range to come help us." Rel-2's thin fingers moved over his controls. "Sir, I am not sure I remember all the right words. The old language is very different. Just do your best. Send everything we have about the harvesters. Tell whoever gets the message that these monsters are back. Tell them the harvesters are killing peaceful species again." As Rel-2 worked, another crew member spoke up. "Captain, why are we doing this? Even if someone gets the message, who would come? All the warrior species died out long ago. Everyone in the galaxy is peaceful now." Veltar watched the harvester ships move closer. Maybe, but maybe not. The galaxy is a big place. Maybe somewhere out there some species still remembers how to fight. The ship shook again. This time, pieces of the ceiling fell down. One of the crew members cried out as a metal beam hit his arm. "Shields at 8%, Kessita said. "Message sent, sir," Rel-2 reported. "I broadcasted on all the old warrior frequencies. If anyone out there still monitors those channels, they will hear it." Veltar nodded. He did not really believe anyone would come. The old warrior species were gone. The Kethari had destroyed themselves in civil wars. The Morthan had become peaceful farmers. The Grixel had stopped fighting when they joined the Galactic Council. But still, he had to try. It was better than just waiting to die. Another blast. The lights went out again. This time, they stayed out longer. When they came back on, half the control panels were dead. "Sir, they are moving in for the final attack," the sensor officer called out. "3 ships coming at us from different directions." Veltar looked around his bridge. His crew stared back at him. They were scientists, not warriors. They had spent their lives studying stars and planets. They had never hurt anyone. Now they were about to die because monsters from the old times had come back. "Any word on our message?" Veltar asked. "No, sir. No response on any channel." Veltar sat down in his captain's chair. He tried to think of something wise to say, some final words that would make his crew feel better. But his mind was empty. The harvester ships opened fire. The shields failed completely. The first blast tore a hole in the side of the ship. Air rushed out into space. Emergency doors slammed shut to stop the ship from breaking apart. "Hull breach on deck 3, someone reported. "We have lost life support in 4 sections." Veltar closed his eyes. He had done everything he could. Maybe his message would reach someone someday. Maybe whoever found it would learn about the harvesters and be ready when the monsters came for them. Another blast. The ship spun around. Veltar held onto his chair as gravity failed. He opened his eyes and looked at the screen one more time. The harvester ships were so close now that he could see details on their hulls. Living eyes that watched his ship die, weapons that looked like giant claws, ready to tear them apart. Then something impossible happened. New contacts appeared on the sensor screen. Lots of them. Ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Big ships. "Sir?" the sensor officer said, and his voice was full of wonder. Someone answered our call. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of the UEN Indomitable and read the message again. The old galactic language was hard to understand, but the meaning was clear. Someone was in trouble. Someone was asking for warriors to come help them fight. The message had reached Earth's deep space listening posts 12 hours ago. At first, the computer systems had marked it as ancient data, maybe from some old archaeological site. But Lieutenant Rodriguez in Deep Space Communications had seen something different. She had studied the old galactic languages in college. She knew a real distress call when she heard one. "Ma'am, are you sure about this?" asked Commander Brooks, Chen's second in command. He stood next to her, reading the translated message on his tablet. "This could be a trap, or maybe just old data bouncing around space." Chen shook her head. "Look at the signal pattern, Brooks. This is fresh. Someone sent this message less than a day ago. And look at the coordinates. That system is on the edge of known space." She pointed to the star map on the big screen. A red dot showed where the message had come from. It was far away, in a part of space that humans had never visited. "But ma'am, why would aliens call for help from us? Most of them think we are primitive savages. They barely want to trade with us." Chen smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Maybe that is about to change." She had spent 30 years in the Earth Defense Force. She had started as a young officer on a patrol ship near Mars. Now she commanded the newest and biggest ship in the human fleet. The Indomitable was 2 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy a moon. Chen had always wondered when humanity would face a real test in space. Humans had been traveling between stars for 50 years. They had met dozens of alien species. But most of those species were peaceful. They solved problems by talking. They had not fought a real war in thousands of years. Humans were different. Earth was a dangerous world. The gravity was twice as strong as most planets. The weather could kill you. Wild animals hunted each other every day. Humans had learned to survive by being stronger, faster, and more aggressive than their enemies. Other species did not understand this. When they visited Earth, they needed special suits to walk around. They were scared of human cities. They thought human music was too loud and human food was too spicy. They called Earth a death world, and humans Deathworlders. Chen had always been proud of that name. She looked at the message again. The aliens were asking for help against something called harvesters. Chen had heard that name before, in secret reports that only high-level officers could read. Reports about dead planets and missing civilizations. "Brooks, get me Fleet Command on Priority Channel," Chen ordered. "Yes, ma'am." The communication system connected Chen to Admiral Harrison on Earth. His face appeared on the main screen. Harrison was old and tired, but his eyes were still sharp. "Sarah, what do you have for me?" "Sir, we received a distress call. Aliens asking for military help against something called harvesters." Harrison's face changed. The tired look disappeared. Now he looked dangerous. "Send me everything you have. All data, all translations. Do it now." Chen uploaded the files. She watched Harrison read them on his end. She could see him getting more and more serious. "Sarah, how fast can you get to those coordinates?" "With the whole fleet? Maybe 36 hours if we push the jump drives hard." "Do it. I am sending orders to all ships in the system." "Emergency deployment. Full war mobilization." Chen felt her heart beat faster. "Sir, what are we dealing with?" Harrison was quiet for a moment. "Remember the Andromeda archaeological expeditions? The planets we found that had been completely stripped clean? No life, no resources, just empty rock?" "Yes, sir." "We think the harvesters did that. They are not just raiders, Sarah. They are planet killers. If they are active again, every living thing in the galaxy is in danger." The connection ended. Chen stood still for a moment, thinking about what Harrison had said. Then she turned to Brooks. "Sound general quarters. All ships to prepare for immediate departure. Combat loadout." Brooks pressed buttons on his control panel. Alarms began to ring throughout the ship. The voice of the ship's computer came over the speakers. "All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Repeat, all hands to battle stations." Chen walked to the window that looked out into space. She could see other human ships moving into formation. The carrier Yorktown was launching fighter squadrons. The battleship Leviathan was charging its main guns. Dozens of smaller ships moved between the big ones like hunting wolves. Her tablet beeped with incoming messages. Reports from all the ship captains. Weapons ready, engines ready, Marines ready, medical teams ready. Everyone was excited. Finally, a real mission. Chen thought about the alien captain who had sent the distress call. He probably thought no one would answer. He probably did not know that his message had reached the one species in the galaxy that was always ready for war. "Ma'am, all ships report ready," Brooks said. "How many ships total?" 237 combat vessels, plus supply ships and medical ships. The entire Sol defense fleet except for the ships guarding Earth itself. Chen nodded. It was a massive force, enough firepower to conquer most star systems. But she had a feeling they were going to need all of it. "Brooks, what do you know about the old galactic warrior cultures?" "Not much, ma'am. I know most of them died out or became peaceful when the Galactic Council was formed." "Right. So when these aliens sent out a call for warriors, they probably thought no one would answer. They probably thought all the warrior species were gone. But we are still here." "Yes, we are. And I think we are about to remind the galaxy what a real warrior species looks like." The jump drives began to power up. Chen could feel the vibration through the ship's hull. In a few minutes, the entire human fleet would disappear from Sol system and reappear near the aliens who had called for help. She wondered what those aliens would think when they saw 200 human warships appear out of nowhere. She wondered if they would be happy or terrified. Probably both. The human fleet moved through faster-than-light space like a steel storm. 237 ships traveled together in perfect formation. Each ship was ready for war. Inside the Indomitable, Admiral Chen walked through the corridors and watched her crew prepare. In the Marine sections, Soldiers checked their armor and weapons. The human Marines were big and strong, even by Earth standards. Their powered armor made them look like metal giants. Chen stopped to watch a group of Marines training in the main bay. They moved fast and hit hard. Their practice targets were destroyed in seconds. These were not peaceful explorers or scientists. These were predators bred for war. "Admiral," called Marine Colonel Torres. He walked over to Chen, his boots making loud sounds on the metal floor. "My people are ready, ma'am. 3,000 Marines across the fleet. We can handle boarding actions or ground assault." "Good, Colonel. What do you know about these harvesters?" Torres checked his tablet. According to the old records, they use biomechanical technology. Living ships that can repair themselves. They like to capture enemies alive for study. They have never fought a species like us. Chen nodded. Humans had fought each other for thousands of years before they reached space. They knew every way to kill and every way to die. Other species had peace for so long that they had forgotten how to fight. She moved on to the weapons sections. Here, technicians loaded missiles and charged energy cannons. The Indomitable carried enough firepower to level a continent. Every other human ship was the same. "Admiral," said Weapons Officer Martinez, "we have loaded the special ordnance you requested. Kinetic penetrators, fusion warheads, and plasma charges. If these harvesters want a fight, we can give them one." Chen looked at the weapons display. Red lights showed all the different ways her ship could destroy enemies. Humans did not believe in fair fights. They believed in winning quickly and completely. Meanwhile, in the Kepler 442 system, Captain Veltar tried to keep his crew alive. The Peaceful Inquiry was badly damaged. Half the ship had no power. The air was getting thin, but somehow they were still floating in space. The harvester ships had stopped attacking. They just waited nearby like hunters watching wounded prey. Veltar did not know why they had stopped. Maybe they wanted to capture the ship intact. "Sir," said Communications Officer Reltu. His voice was weak. He had been hurt when part of the ceiling fell on him. "I am getting strange readings from the edge of the system." "What kind of readings?" "Jump signatures. Lots of them. Something big is coming." Veltar looked at the sensor screen. He saw energy patterns that meant ships were about to appear from faster-than-light travel. But the patterns looked wrong. They were too big and too strong. "How many ships?" Veltar asked. Reltu worked at his damaged console. Numbers appeared on the screen, then more numbers, then more. "Sir, I cannot get an exact count, but it looks like hundreds of ships." Veltar felt cold. "Hundreds? That cannot be right. No one travels with hundreds of ships." "Sir, they are dropping out of jump space now." The main screen changed. Space around them filled with ships. Not the smooth, peaceful ships that most species used. These ships were built for war. They had thick armor and big guns. They moved in formations that spoke of military training. Veltar stared at the screen. He had never seen ships like these. They looked dangerous. They looked like they were designed to kill things. "Sir," Reltu whispered, "what species builds ships like that?" Before Veltar could answer, his communication system came alive. A voice spoke in clear galactic standard. "Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Navy. We received your distress call. Please identify yourself and your situation." Veltar was confused. "Earth Navy? I have never heard of Earth." He activated his communication system. "This is Captain Veltar of the Zalanti research vessel Peaceful Inquiry. We are under attack by harvester ships. We called for help, but who are you?" "We are humans, Captain. We are here to help." Veltar looked at his crew. None of them knew what humans were. He checked his ship's database. The computer found a small file marked Deathworld Species, Restricted Access. He opened the file and read quickly. His eyes got bigger with each line. Earth was listed as an extremely dangerous planet. Humans were marked as a predator species with high aggression levels and advanced military capabilities. "Sir," Reltu said, "the new ships are moving toward the harvesters." Veltar watched the screen. The human ships moved like a pack of hunting animals. They spread out to surround the harvester vessels. The humans did not send messages asking the harvesters to surrender. They just moved into attack positions. The harvesters seemed confused. They had been the hunters for so long that they did not know what to do when someone hunted them back. Their bioships pulsed with red light like angry hearts. "Captain Veltar," Admiral Chen's voice came over the radio again. "Please move your ship away from the battle area. We are about to engage the hostile vessels." "Admiral, wait. You do not understand what you are facing." "The harvesters have destroyed entire civilizations. They have weapons that adapt to any attack. They cannot be beaten." There was a pause. Then Admiral Chen spoke again. Her voice was calm and cold. "Captain, with respect, they have never fought humans before. Please move to a safe distance." Veltar ordered his crew to use their emergency thrusters to push away from the battle area. As they moved, he watched the human ships finish their preparations. The human formation was beautiful and terrible. The big ships stayed in the center, their massive guns pointing at the harvesters. Smaller ships moved around the edges like wolves circling prey. Fighters launched from carrier ships and swarmed through space. "Sir," said Engineer Keseta, "I am reading the human ship signatures. Their power levels are incredible. Each of their big ships has more firepower than our entire defense fleet." Veltar thought about his home world, the peaceful cities where his people studied art and science, the quiet libraries and gardens. What would happen if the harvesters reached Zelanti space? Then he thought about these humans. They had traveled across the galaxy because someone had asked for help. They had brought their entire fleet to fight an enemy they had never seen before. "Sir, the harvesters are moving," the sensor officer reported. "They are positioning for attack." "And the humans?" "They are just waiting." Veltar understood. The humans were predators. They knew how to be patient. They knew how to let their prey make the first move. In the distance, the three harvester ships began to glow with deadly energy. They were preparing to show these newcomers why the galaxy feared them. They had no idea that the galaxy's most dangerous species had just arrived to teach them about fear. The first harvester ship fired its main weapon. A beam of dark energy shot across space toward the human fleet. It was a weapon that had destroyed 1,000 worlds. The beam could eat through any known shield and turn metal into dust. Admiral Chen watched the attack on her screen. "All ships, evasive pattern Delta. Return fire with kinetic rounds." The human ships moved like dancers. They twisted and turned through space, avoiding the dark beam. The harvester weapon missed completely. The humans had fought each other for so long that dodging attacks was natural to them. Then the humans fired back. Railguns launched metal slugs at incredible speed. The slugs moved so fast, they were invisible. They hit the harvester ship like hammers from heaven. The biomechanical hull started to adapt. Living metal flowed to repair the damage. The harvesters had survived for millions of years because their ships could change to resist any weapon. But the humans were ready for this. "Target adapting to kinetic rounds," reported Weapons Officer Martinez, "switching to plasma charges." The human ships fired again. This time they used superheated gas that burned hotter than stars. The harvester ship's hull tried to adapt, but the plasma was different from the metal slugs. Different damage, different defense needed. While the bioship worked to resist plasma, the humans fired kinetic rounds again, then fusion warheads, then particle beams. Each weapon was different. The harvester ship could not adapt to all of them at once. Captain Veltar watched from his damaged ship. "How are they doing this?" he asked his crew. Engineer Kesta checked her readings. "Sir, they are using multiple weapon types in sequence. The harvester ship can only adapt to one type at a time. The humans keep switching before the adaptation is complete. Veltar was amazed. In all the old records, no species had ever thought to fight the harvesters this way. Most species used one type of weapon and watched helplessly as the harvesters adapted to it. But humans were different. They had fought wars against their own kind. They knew that enemies could adapt and change. So they had learned to be unpredictable. The second harvester ship fired its fear weapon. Invisible energy waves spread through space. These waves could enter the minds of enemy crews and fill them with terror. Most species would panic and run when hit by the fear waves. The waves reached the human ships. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Admiral Chen's voice came over the radio, calm and steady. "All ships, report status." "Indomitable standing ready," came one reply. "Leviathan ready to continue engagement," came another. "Yorktown fighters requesting permission to attack," said a third. Veltar was confused. "Why are they not afraid?" Communications Officer Rel 2 had been monitoring human transmissions. "Sir, I think they are enjoying this." Inside the human ships, the crews worked with cold efficiency. The fear weapon had touched their minds, but humans had lived with fear their entire evolution. They had been hunted by giant predators on Earth. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. Fear was an old friend to humans, not an enemy. Marine Colonel Torres spoke over the ship's communication system. "All Marines, stand by for boarding action. It looks like we might get to meet these things face to face." The Marines cheered. They wanted to fight the harvesters with their bare hands. The third harvester ship tried a different approach. It launched dozens of smaller bioships. These attack craft moved like living things, twisting through space toward the human fleet. Admiral Chen smiled. This was something humans understood very well. "Launch all fighters. Show them how we hunt in packs." Human fighters poured out of the carrier ships. They were small and fast, flown by pilots who had trained since childhood. The pilots moved their ships like extensions of their own bodies. The bioships were fast and smart, but they fought like individual predators. Each one tried to hunt alone. The human fighters worked together like a pack of wolves. They surrounded the bioships and attacked from all directions at once. Fox 2, called one pilot as he fired missiles. "Target down, moving to assist Fox 5, called another. "This is Reaper Squadron. We have 3 bogies trapped in the asteroid field." The human pilots spoke in calm, professional voices, even as they fought for their lives. This was what they had trained for. This was what they were born for. One by one, the bioships died. The harvesters had never faced pilots who worked together so well. They had never fought enemies who could think and adapt faster than their biotechnology. The main harvester ships began to retreat. For the first time in millions of years, they had met something more dangerous than themselves. But Admiral Chen was not finished. "All ships, pursue and destroy. Do not let them escape. If even one gets away, they will tell others about us." The human fleet gave chase. The big ships moved forward while fighters swarmed around the retreating harvesters. The humans did not fight like the peaceful species the harvesters were used to. They fought like predators who had finally found worthy prey. The first harvester ship tried to jump to faster-than-light speed, but human ships fired gravity weapons that twisted space around it. The bioship could not escape. "Target trapped," reported the weapons officer. "All guns fire at will." Every human ship opened fire at once. Hundreds of weapons hit the harvester ship from every direction. Rail guns, plasma cannons, missile launchers, particle beams. The bioship tried to adapt, but there were too many different attacks coming too fast. The ship's living hull screamed as it died. The sound came through space itself, a psychic cry of pain and fear. For the first time, a harvester ship felt terror. The second ship lasted longer. It had learned from watching the first one die. Its hull adapted faster, its weapons fired more accurately, but the humans adapted too. They changed their tactics, used different weapons, attacked from new angles. Human Marines in powered armor shot themselves out of torpedo tubes toward the bioship. They landed on its hull and began cutting their way inside with plasma torches. "Boarding Party Alpha, we are inside," reported Colonel Torres. "Hull composition is interesting. It is trying to digest our armor." "Copy that, Alpha. Try not to get eaten," Admiral Chen replied. Inside the harvester ship, the Marines found corridors that pulsed like arteries, walls that watched them with living eyes, defenders that were part machine and part monster. The Marines fought through it all. They had trained in Earth's jungles and deserts and mountains. They had learned to fight in places where everything wanted to kill them. A bioship was just another hostile environment. The third harvester ship tried to ram one of the human vessels. It accelerated to incredible speed, aiming for the destroyer Cerberus. But the human ship simply moved out of the way at the last second. The bioship flew past and crashed into an asteroid. "Cerberus to Fleet Command," came the call. "Target has impacted asteroid. No damage to friendly vessels. Recommend we leave it for the cleanup cruise." Admiral Chen checked her tactical display. All 3 harvester ships were dead or dying. The smaller bioships were all destroyed. The human fleet had not lost a single vessel. "All ships, stand down from attack condition. Begin rescue operations for any survivors." She opened a channel to the Zelanti ship. "Captain Veltar, this is Admiral Chen. The threat has been eliminated. Do you require medical assistance?" Veltar's voice was full of wonder and fear. "Admiral, what are you?" Chen looked out at the wreckage of the harvester ships. Enemies that had terrorized the galaxy for millions of years, destroyed in less than an hour. "We are humans, Captain. We are from Earth, and we just wanted to help." Admiral Sarah Chen walked through the corridors of the Peaceful Inquiry. The Zelanti ship was small and elegant, built for exploration and research. Everything was smooth curves and soft lighting. It was beautiful, but Chen could see how weak it was. One good hit from a human weapon would cut it in half. Captain Veltar met her at the airlock. He was tall and thin, with 4 arms and large eyes. His skin was pale blue and looked very delicate. When he moved, it was with careful grace. Chen could tell he had never been in a real fight. "Admiral Chen," Veltar said. His voice was soft and musical. "Thank you for coming to help us. I am sorry that we doubted you." Chen smiled. She had left her weapons and armor on her own ship. She wore only her uniform. But she could see that Veltar was still afraid of her. Even without weapons, humans looked dangerous to peaceful species. "No need to apologize, Captain. You could not have known what to expect." Veltar led her to the ship's medical bay. Several of his crew members were there, injured but alive. Human medical teams worked alongside Zelanti doctors to treat the wounded. The human medics moved with quick efficiency, but they were gentle with the alien patients. "Your people are very skilled," Veltar observed. "Your doctors know how to treat injuries they have never seen before." "Humans get hurt a lot," Chen explained. "We have had plenty of practice fixing damage to living bodies." Dr. Sarah Kim, the chief medical officer from the Indomitable, looked up from her work. "Admiral, all patients are stable. We should be able to repair most of the damage to their ship's life support systems." "Good work, Doctor." Veltar watched the humans work. They moved like predators even when they were helping people. Always alert, always ready for danger. But they were also surprisingly gentle. "Admiral, may I ask you something?" "Of course. How did your people learn to fight like that? The harvesters have never been defeated before. They have destroyed civilizations that were millions of years old." Chen walked over to a window and looked out at space. The wreckage of the harvester ships floated nearby. Human salvage teams were studying the biotechnology, trying to understand how it worked. "Captain, Let me tell you about Earth. She activated her personal tablet and showed him pictures. Images of Earth's cities, its oceans, its mountains. This is our home world. Most species would consider it a death trap. Veltar looked at the images. He saw massive storms, active volcanoes, and creatures with sharp teeth and claws. The gravity is twice what you are used to, Chen continued. The weather can kill you in minutes. The native animals are all predators or prey, locked in constant war. Even our plants fight each other for sunlight and soil. How do you survive in such a place? By becoming the most dangerous thing on the planet. Chen showed him pictures of human cities, tall buildings that could withstand earthquakes and hurricanes, bridges that spanned vast rivers, machines that could dig through solid rock. We learned to build strong things because our world tried to destroy everything we made. We learned to fight because everything on our planet wanted to eat us. We learned to work together because alone we would have died out long ago. Veltar studied the images. But surely once you reached space, you became more peaceful? Chen laughed, but it was not a cruel sound. Captain, humans have been fighting each other for our entire history. Even after we learned to travel between stars, we kept building weapons and training soldiers. Other species told us we were too violent, too aggressive. They said we would never fit in with galactic civilization. And now? Now they might change their minds. Chen's communication device beeped. She answered it. Admiral, this is Commander Brooks. We are receiving priority transmissions from multiple star systems. Word about the battle is spreading fast. What kind of transmissions? Requests for help, ma'am. It seems the harvesters were active in a lot of places. Dozens of species are asking if we can come help them, too. Chen was quiet for a moment. How many ships do we have that need major repairs? None, ma'am. Minor damage only. All vessels ready for immediate deployment. Then let's go hunting. She closed the communication and turned back to Veltar. Captain, would you like to come with us? Come where? To hunt harvesters. Your ship has the best sensors for tracking biosignatures. We could use your help finding their other fleets. Veltar looked scared. Admiral, I am not a warrior. My people are scientists and artists. We do not fight. You do not have to fight. Just help us find the enemy. We will do the fighting. But why would you do this? Why risk your lives to help species you have never met? Chen thought about the question. She looked out at the human fleet, waiting in space. 200 ships full of warriors who were ready to travel across the galaxy to fight monsters. Because someone asked for help, she said simply. Because the strong have a duty to protect the weak. Because if we do not stop the harvesters now, eventually they will come for Earth. Veltar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. Admiral, I need to ask you something important. When this is over, when all the harvesters are dead, what will humans do then? Will you become conquerors? Will you rule the galaxy with your weapons? Chen looked at him with surprise. Captain, we did not come here to conquer anyone. We came here because you asked for help. But you are so much stronger than the rest of us. You could easily take whatever you wanted. Yes, we could. But why would we want to? We already have everything we need on Earth. We do not want to rule the galaxy, Captain. We just want to keep it safe. Veltar looked into her eyes and saw the truth there. Humans were predators, but they were not monsters. They were protectors. I will come with you, he said finally. My people will help you hunt the harvesters. Over the next several hours, more ships arrived in the system. Not human ships, but vessels from dozens of other species. Word had spread that the mythical harvesters had been defeated. Everyone wanted to see the warriors who had done the impossible. Admiral Chen received visitors from 12 different species. Ambassadors and military commanders all wanted to meet the humans. They came expecting to find savage barbarians. Instead, they found professional soldiers who who spoke politely and offered medical aid to anyone who needed it. "How many harvester fleets are there?" Chen asked during a joint meeting with all the visiting commanders. Ambassador Kretal of the Morphin Union answered, "Our best estimates suggest 15 to 20 fleets scattered across the galaxy. Each fleet has between 5 and 10 ships. Then we have a lot of work ahead of us." "Admiral," said General Thex Nu of the Altair Defense Force, "my people would like to help. We are not as strong as humans, but we have ships and weapons." Chen smiled. "All help is welcome, General, but I have to warn you, we fight to win. We do not take prisoners. We do not give enemies a chance to surrender. Is that acceptable to your people?" The alien commanders looked at each other. They were used to civilized warfare with rules and ceremonies, but the harvesters did not follow rules. "Admiral," said Ambassador Kretal, "for too long, the galaxy has tried to handle the harvester threat with diplomacy and careful action. It never worked. Perhaps it is time to try the human way." Chen nodded. "Then let's get started." As the combined fleet prepared to leave the system, Veltar stood on his bridge and watched the human ships. They moved with deadly purpose, ready to hunt down enemies across the galaxy. For millions of years, the harvesters had been the nightmare of peaceful civilizations. Now, for the first time, they would learn what it felt like to be afraid. The galaxy had new protectors, and they came from a world that had taught them how to be the most dangerous hunters in the universe.